right, well, the recording has begun. We will open City Council meeting, calling it to order. We will observe our traditional moment of silent reflection, and then we'll stand for the pledge. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Again, welcome everyone to our the first City Council meeting of the year, where it's still light outside. So we are approaching spring quickly. And we also have Dixie here this evening to give us a report on the flowers. So we'll look forward to that. Let's begin this evening. We've got a guest that wishes to address council. Willard Scott, good evening. We are recording the meeting, would you mind approach the podium for your remarks?
Well, I'm a employee at Novellis' plant here in Buckhannon, and I would really hate to see that little plant shut down, because we got employees up here. It's been there 20 plus years, probably 14, 15 people. And I'd like to see you start here with the city, go to county commission, maybe the state, and then wherever else we need to go to keep our little plant. Because that's 80 employees.
It's a big deal to us, and I can tell you. So I'm a part-time mayor. I'm not full-time here. So my full-time job is I'm director of economic development for the Upshur County Development Authority, and so I have been in contact with some of the plant leadership here and also in Atlanta. The details are very limited as to what, I'm sure as you know, as to what they will divulge. They're in what they call an SEC quiet time. But I have also been in contact with Governor Justice's office, Senator Capito's office, and Senator Manchin's office. I did have some dialogue with Senator Manchin's office just yesterday. They're also, all three are very concerned about this. But as of right now, all of the questions that I've asked, not many of them have been answered. We've got members of the media here as well, and I would imagine that they've probably gotten about the same as I've gotten. It absolutely is a concern. I also spoke to the Chamber of Commerce in Charleston yesterday. What might seem like a small loss to a larger city like Charleston or Morgantown or Pittsburgh, 80 employees here, that's like 1,000 to a place like Morgantown or Charleston. So we feel your pain. I mean, I know we can't feel exactly what you're feeling, but I mean we feel the loss here in the city. The plant is located within the city limits, so there's a revenue component there for us as well that we feel. But I can tell you this, the entities here locally in Upshur County, we're doing everything we can to try to get information and try to see. I even reached out and said, did we do something wrong? Did we as a community do something wrong? Was there something we could have done better? If you just tell us, maybe we know better for the next time. I did get a quick response back from their HR manager that said, no, we've been very proud to be part of the Buckhannon community. This is not, the community did not do anything wrong. It's not a workforce problem. They called it a corporate shift. Right. And what that can mean 100 different things, but it is very recent. We are, we're all, again, we're very sad about it. I did also speak to another entity here in town just today. And we're hoping to maybe quickly put something together that might be of benefit to that's from the UCDA side with another entity here in town that will be named soon, to try to provide a resource to those who work at Novellis as what steps forward, what else is here, what could skill sets transfer, while this is happening. So we're trying, but we can't make them stay.
No.
We can advocate as much as we can, and
Right.
we are doing that from the city's perspective, from council, from city hall, from the county commission. I've spoken with Christy and Sam and Doug about this as well. This is a big hit for our small community. So, but we are, and if we're depending on what happens with the real estate, the Upshur County Development Authority will absolutely be marketing to try to find another company to come in here for that location. But we can't do that until we get some more information from what is going on with Novellis and what their timeline is and things like that.
So they're also closing a plant in New Jersey, I understand.
They already closed it.
Is that correct?
They closed it probably 4 months ago.
Yeah, that affected 200 people, I think.
Yeah, they had people come down from when they closed that plant to see if they wanted to work down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this little plant, we worked through the pandemic, not a day shut down production. We're like one of maybe 2 companies or plants that worked through the pandemic. So,
And you all invested some pretty good sized money there in the last
yeah,
couple
they
of
did.
years.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Mhm. That new parking lot.
Is there anything that you're at liberty to
Safety.
tell us that we don't know?
Pardon?
Are you at liberty to tell us anything that we don't know?
They don't really tell us anything either. But what I've heard, we're making money, but it must not be enough.
Yeah.
Their corporate structure is in India?
Yeah, Adalco or something like that.
Yeah, it's an overseas owned company, but their American headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
Yeah. And we just saw a large, 1,100 people lost their job up in Weirton, and that was an aluminum steel kind of plant as well. So you got to wonder what's going on out there. So.
You've got, Allegheny, wood products and one out. It ain't good.
No.
But here's one thing, Clarksburg, Scana has a little aluminum plant down there too. And I was wondering if somebody could get in touch with them. They're out of Wisconsin. And maybe they might be interested in buying.
Yeah.
Right.
I did ask those who I've been able to talk to if they would sell. Are they selling? Because the rumor is that for a while there, back at the end of February, that it's going to be sold, and they said, well, they couldn't comment on that. I told them, that our office would be happy to help facilitate it. We'd be happy to work with, be like, because the Development Authority can be somewhat of a real estate arm. It acts as the city and the county's land bank.
Right.
So, but again, they were just, we can't comment. We're in quiet time. I asked them how long the quiet time lasted. They couldn't tell me that. So, basically, what my Buckhannon, the Record Delta, WDTV, WBOY have put out there, that's about all we got.
Yeah. But they're building a new plant, I think it's in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
It started out at $2.4 billion, and I guess they have some problems now, and it's went to 4.7.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to get some money or something.
Could be.
And I heard they was going to put their, Adelco was putting on the New York Stock Exchange to.
Yeah, they did recently just go out to be publicly traded. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but
Big companies anymore.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, I can tell you this: we'll keep doing everything we can.
appreciate it.
So-
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, thank you.
Robbie, is there opportunity to establish a bank through the Development Authority or through the County Commission, maybe more, maybe even City Hall, I don't know, of resumes of these 80 displaced workers that we might be able to match them up and introduce them to some of the other industries, whether it's St. Joseph's or Wesleyan or Corehart or Weyerhaeuser, you name it. Maybe we can help. These are 80 of our neighbors. We would prefer not to lose anyone going to Morgantown or Charleston or for greener pastures like so many West Virginians do to Charlotte or Florida or wherever, you know?
So the conversation I had today with another entity, good partner here in town, we had that very conversation. So we're
Working on it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Being explored.
Warehouse's HR, they've already got in touch with some of the people.
That's
I reached out to Weyerhaeuser and both Corehart and Weyerhaeuser the minute we got the WARN notice last week, and I just saw today on social media that Weyerhaeuser followed through with they've got ads out there on their site, and they did tell me that they were going to reach out. So because there probably are matching skill sets that for both corporations.
Here's my thing. I got maybe 5 more years and I can retire. So,
Yeah.
and going somewhere else, that I feel like that plant is my plant too.
Yeah.
And everybody in it feels the same way.
Yeah.
So we'd like to see somebody, step up and purchase it and
Absolutely.
run it the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, it's interesting, they're building a new plant in Alabama.
It's going to have recycling and all kinds of stuff. It's a big.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing with us. Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with us.
We'll be keeping all the employees in our prayers. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell them.
Meredith, you're here to talk to us from the college.
Okay. So good evening, happy spring to you all. First of all, we would like to thank you for approving the painting of a crosswalk at College Avenue by the PAC. We're really excited to see it be completed. The class of 2024 will be making history at the college, as they will be the first class ever to hold a commencement ceremony. Thank you. In Wesley Chapel. All of our spring sports are in full swing. Please feel free to visit our website for game dates and times. There is tennis, lacrosse, baseball, softball, track and field, golf, spring soccer, and spring football are all very busy. Students attended Prevention Day in Charleston over our spring break. We anticipate scheduling a suicide prevention walk in September of 2024 for both the college and the community to participate. There was a career and graduate school fair on campus today, which welcomed several businesses, organizations, and guests to engage with the students. Right now, students are at the parish house preparing and serving up beef stew at the parish house for their monthly community dinner. Women's History Month is off to a great start. The We Lead Human Rights team encouraged students to write empowering notes to the incredible women who have impacted their lives. There have also been workshops and discussions about women's voice in the Black Lives Matter movement and the impact of HIV on women's health. Students volunteered at Book Swap at the Upshur County Public Library this past weekend. Another student has been instrumental in development and maintenance of a new seed library there as well. Our involvement with the library doesn't end there. We have volunteers signed up and ready to help at the upcoming Ramp Dinner fundraiser on April 12th, and we hope to see you, the community, there. A few students have been committed to the Free Meals Appalachia Saturday meals at the First Presbyterian Church, and 3 carloads of students made their way to Pickens last weekend to help with the Maple Syrup Festival. The Bobcat and a few students volunteered at the Read Across America event at Union Elementary School over our spring break as well. Our animal welfare team is conducting a pet supply drive through April 1st. There is a Red Cross blood drive on campus on March 28th in the social hall. If you saw the Easter newsletter from the CVB, that was the work of our Service Scholar student at that site. As of today, Literacy Volunteers of Upshur County has confirmed the location of their spring book sale to be at the Tennerton United Methodist Church. Students will be the music behind the operation as we move thousands of books from a storage unit to the church. So please come buy all the books on April 26th and 27th so that we need a little bit less muscle moving the leftover books back to the storage unit. Our students will have Thursday and Friday off of Easter weekend, but the college will remain open. Many students will stay over that break because of athletic contest. Any questions?
Any questions for Meredith? So you only have one more time to come visit with us?
I have April, and I think I have beginning of May.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have
When's
beginning of May.
graduation for college?
Oh, I am not completely sure.
I think it's Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
that
think-
Saturday before, so it would be like the 11th.
yeah, it's a Saturday weekend. It's a Saturday in May.
The only reason I know that is because Strawberry Festival technically starts that day, and we've been talking about what events, but like, we don't want to close a bunch of streets down for stuff on that weekend. If parents are coming in for West End graduation, they don't always know their way around town if we close off the main thoroughfares.
Yeah, it may be the 11th or the 18th, which is the Saturday after, but we finish up the 7th, which is when exams end.
I think it's the 11th. It wouldn't be the 18th because that's Strawberry Festival Saturday. That's the main parade, so.
When do you graduate, Meredith?
In 2027.
Oh.
What do
Yeah.
you, could you tell us again when graduation is taking place this year? Do you have the date? Was that part of that?
No, it just said where it was at. It's supposed to be at the
11th.
chapel.
Mhm.
I will get back to you the next meeting with the date exactly so I
Okay.
can tell you guys. But I will be here 2 more times.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith.
No problem.
Will you be with us next year?
I hope so.
Hey, Mayor. I got
Yes, sir.
one other thing. My plant manager, excuse me. My plant manager today said that you guys were going to talk to.
Could you do that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our plant manager told us today that Novelis was going to be talking to you guys here at this meeting. That's
Tonight?
what he told me.
We did not receive any communication stating that.
You think he meant the commission?
No, because he was going to come, but his anniversary's today, and he had to take his wife to dinner and all this stuff. So, yeah.
I guess he's got his priorities straight.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, all that was just what we received. So, I mean, no one
That's what he-
no one communicated with us that anybody
He
was,
would be talking to Novelis.
no, not at this meeting, no.
That's what because he said he'd really like to have been here, but on account of that. So,
Yeah.
Well, he can come in April, first meeting in April.
If you talk to him, tell him all he has to do is just call down here at City Hall and to ask for Teresa, and Teresa will schedule a time and with myself and council members who want to be present to meet. We can't have any more than 4 of us. Well, I can't have any more than 3 of us because then it becomes a quorum and we can't. Then it's an unpublished meeting. So, but yeah, we can schedule a time anytime he wants to chat. But
but I guess this was supposed to be with corporate Novelis. I mean, vibes.
Yeah,
Instead of just
no.
him. That's how he worded it to me today.
yeah.
So,
Nope.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
You take care.
Okay.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Same to you. Be safe.
Good luck, Ann.
Thanks.
Mr. Arnold is here,
Jerry Arnold.
Public Works Director. He has a report for us this evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sirs and ma'am. Street crews are planning to begin a lot of repairs next week. If the blacktop plant is open. We have to,
Is it open now?
well, it was to be open, then they had a breakdown, so it closed, and now I think they've got it fixed right now. So, like I said, they've been, Saltwell's been open, but we can't haul that far for patching. We can haul it to, like if we're paving a street with the paver, because we can unload the truck quick enough. But our beds aren't heated, and when it's cool like this, we can't haul that far for hole patching because we can't move the material quick enough before it hardens in the beds.
I think I saw some other crews, maybe the state working out on 33
Yes.
and Brushy Fork
Yes.
Cross.
And what we're hoping for is Buckhannon actually gets open next week.
I'm
That
sorry?
would be great if Buckhannon would get open next week. But anyhow, we're gonna start our hole patching next week. And the way it looks, we may be doing that clear through till fall.
Yeah.
Again, just encourage everybody, call in your favorite pothole. We'll get to it
Call
just
City
as
Hall.
quick as we can. Yes,
Call City Hall, get a
City Hall
work
on the
order
work
for it.
order. Yes, sir.
I hope people have them named.
I do too. I know I've gotten this one at Florida Street. There's several people give it a name, but I can't repeat
I
it.
can't repeat the name.
No. We've received the 4 light poles for Gateway West to complete the lighting up Amelia Drive after the pavement repairs are made. I've ordered and received approximately 9,000 square feet of the True Grid product to be installed at Madison Street in the green space. Sewer, the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection conducted the annual sewer plant lab inspection, and they have no anticipated deficiencies. The maintenance crews have been working on inspection of the Deanville pump station, rerouting septic hauler discharge from the bar rack, and replumbing the polymer lines at the belt press, and installing new control panel at Wood and Ritchie Street pump station. The line crew 1 has been completing taps on Route 20 North Cardinal Street and also plugging lines on the county buildings that are set to be raised here soon. Line crew 2 completed the replacement of the failing storm line along Monongalia Street, upgraded approximately 20 feet of line in Andrick Addition, and repaired a sinkhole on 5th Street. And the crews, if you haven't noticed, the crews have begun the Island Avenue project. They actually completed the first bore there at Dave Cook's store today. So that is moving along. I have nothing new under waste to report. Water, of course, the water department crews have started the Mead Street water line upgrade project, and that seems to be moving along pretty well. Under engineering, ARPA projects, Jay's reporting that Tennyson Booster Station Contract B is approximately 75% completed. Roof, doors, miscellaneous electrical panel boxes, piping, excavation, concrete pour, and walls have been completed. The electrical panel for the building has been delivered but not installed. And under the CRS, working on gathering the necessary information required by CRS for the April 2024 submission, as well as revisiting the repetitive loss mailing to all structure owners located in the special flood hazard area. The letter shall be mailed prior to April 1st, 2024. That's all I have, Mayor, unless there's questions for me.
Questions for Mr. Arnold?
I'll follow up on that Mead Street Waterline project. I worked with Jerry Wamsley and Kelly Arnold to get a news release out, and the media did a nice job promoting that. And just for folks who might question, you know, we couldn't give definite dates when different sections of the street should be closed because of potential problems with when they're working on one section. The other thing is call out for emergency repairs. So we may say a street's going to be closed at such and such time, but the crews are called for an emergency repair and they don't close. So I think that hopefully the general news release was well received, that we are going to be working in that area and it's going to be just moving along with obviously, closures each section as they go. So from what I understand, everybody's received that very well.
Jerry, I have a cemetery question.
Yes, sir.
The last 4, 5, 6 years, we've discussed a GIS, GPS implementation, systeming, whatever you call it, of our cemeteries, tombstones where people have been placed to rest. Have we actually started that project? And the reason I ask, I didn't know this, but there's a GIS, GPS class and curriculum at Wesleyan. And it could be an excellent thing to connect the dots, maybe involve those students in facilitating that project.
We started that a couple summers ago. Actually, Jay Holland's son, when he was working as summer help here, he went out and took a lot of points, GPS points at the cemetery, but there is an awful lot more to be done. So there's been a lot of data collected. The map hasn't been generated yet. Again, we're still working on data points for sewer and water as well. But absolutely, we would welcome that kind of help if Wesleyan has that class available, and we have students that are interested.
Our friend, Dr. Kim Bergeron Thorne handles that. So
Okay.
maybe we could get the two of you together and start a conversation that our fall courses might be able to help
Absolutely.
expedite the process.
Absolutely. Get them with Jay. Again, Jay's heading up that GIS mapping, so.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Mr. Arnold? Just to reiterate, citizens, potholes, they will be fixed. They're coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right, now to talk about flowers. Our favorite horticulturalist. We have a lot,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
A lot of what?
horticulturalists around here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So-
Dixie wants to know, she crossed her arms, she wants to know exactly
Can't
who
really
you
stick
speak
with
of.
it.
We welcome Dixie Green, our city horticulturalist, and we are getting ready for yet another season of beautiful flowers throughout our city. So Dixie, take it away.
In the words of Jerry Walmsley, pass and good night. We're getting ready for the season. I'm busy in the greenhouse right now. As we get closer to April, we'll start going out and cleaning up the beds, prepping them, mulching them, getting them all ready. We're still going to be doing the marigolds planting again this year that we did last year with the Upshur County schools. They seem to really like that. Hopefully we'll have the baskets out first week of May, weather depending. And everything else just flew out of my head. That's about it right now. I'm just working in the greenhouse right now. That's
So what kind of themes, or can you tell us colors?
I'm trying a few different varieties this year. I won't bore you with the long names of them, but a lot of very bright colors, pinks, yellows, blues. I was trying to stick with the Wamsby color scheme last year, which was difficult because there's not really any orange flowers, but I tried my best. It ended up looking a little dull, I thought, for my taste. So just try to get as much color out as we
Good.
can.
Any questions for Dixie?
Dixie, do you ever get involved with the Redbrook Garden Club?
Yes, I'm actually working with them right now. They were wanting to do a tree planting for Arbor Day, and I think they've decided, I gotta talk to them, but I think they decided on the Wood Count, or the Wood Street Park, where there's gonna be an orchard there eventually, so I think they're leaning towards a fruit tree there. And then they kind of help with the marigold planting as well, so we work with them on that.
Are you a member of it?
Not officially, no. I sit in with them sometimes.
Well, you ought to become a member.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good organization.
Yeah,
They do
they
a
do a
lot.
lot of good work.
They do a lot of good things.
Where are we with applications out for summer help for the part-time work?
Yeah, I'll have Swindler, and I figure we could post if we need to, if we don't get any. We usually get 1 or 2 in, and that's usually sufficient. But yes, Ron Swindler will be with me starting next month.
Great.
I've already had a couple interested. that contacted me.
When does that start, the summer help program?
Usually May. That's because most of them are college students, so they usually after.
How, do they have to be 18?
We prefer them to be 18 because if they're under 18, they can't operate a vehicle, a city vehicle, and that kind of
All right.
Something came across my emails referencing the Create Buckhannon Adopt a Spot program. You had targeted some potential spots for that. Did I read that somewhere?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've done that and you've sent that along?
Yes, yeah, the mayor asked for some mapped out areas,
Right.
and we had already talked about around the Riverwalk, so it was accessible, just as kind of like a trial area,
Okay,
yeah. So,
great.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Dixon.
have a good night.
You have a good evening.
Bye, Jared. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, we have our finance director, Amby Jenkins, up.
Hello,
Hello.
Andy?
Hi, Andy.
I'm back.
When Dixie talked about beautiful bright colors, what can you bring to us?
I'm pretty dull and bored. Lots of numbers, now it's time
How
to go.
about you, Randy? What can you bring to us, Carl?
Nothing new.
A dull green color.
Okay, I'm going to give you your balances for your enterprise funds for February. Waste collection board money market and checking, $1,551,000 with the CD and savings is at $308,000 and the letter of credit for $64,000. Water board money market and checking, $1,111,000, working capitals at $875,000. Sanitary board money market and checking, $956,000, working capitals and CDs at $459,000. Stormwater fund at $175,000. The bills that you have in your packet, worth noting, that we have several bills, not many though, that were really worth noting. We had $3,000 that was paid to Gracie University Store for law enforcement instructor course, $3,800 to Argos USA for bulk cement, preparing for the cement mixing, $1,200 to Amazon for tables for the CAC. And $8,600 to iWorks. That's the company that's the software that we use to make work orders for the customers, for departments, and it's a management software for like sidewalks, streets, that sort of thing. The auditors, state auditors were in the office this week, completing the audit for the fiscal general fund audit, well, audit for everyone, for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. So I expect to get a certification tomorrow to be ready to send that to the state auditor's office, so completion of that audit. I've talked to the USDA representatives a couple times in the past few weeks, and actually last week and this week. They needed additional letters from banks for rates and terms that might be offered by them if the city were to approach them for financing on the Stocker East Center building. They needed proof that the city could not receive rates and terms that were affordable. So they just like to compare that to what they have to offer. They also asked that I review the projected 5-year cash amounts and the feasibility studies that were submitted and let them know what I was comfortable with the projections in the study. So I've submitted my comments to them day before yesterday, so yesterday, it was actually the day before yesterday. And I have contacted banks about those letters of credit. I've got a response from one other bank. I'll probably reach out again tomorrow or Monday to get at least one more for USDA. We're preparing to mail out the annual floodplain letter next week. That has to do with us being a CRS Class 8 community, which allows for 10% discount on flood insurance. The letter also gives you tips on how to prevent damage and injury during a flood. We're required to do that as part of our classification with the CRS rating system. We ordered the banners that was approved by council, the spring banners and the kite banners and some fall banners. Those should arrive by April the 4th. They've set the date around there. The Upshur County Health Department wanted us to let you know and the public know that they plan to attend a council meeting in the very near future. They want to ask council for support in their efforts to adopt proposed rules for permits and services such as inspections. They'll give you more details on that, but they do have a public notice posted out there. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it. I think they're going to put it in the newspaper. The proposed rules are available for review and comments at the Upshur Buckhannon Health Department from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. And that's what I have for my report. Later in the meeting, you'll have some more budget information to review.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Amby, before you, just to follow up, Teresa contacted me today, and I posted that notice from the Upshur Buckhannon Health Department on our website
Okay,
and on our Facebook. So I just recently did that a little earlier this afternoon.
good.
Okay.
All right. Chief Gregory, rolling right along.
All right.
Hint, not done.
You glanced at my report, didn't you? I just got carried away. So, a lot of moving parts, obviously, with the police department. I'll hit the highlights here. We talked about this earlier this year regarding the peer recovery support specialist that First Choice Services has partnered with the Buckhannon Police Department in embedding into our police department and our community. We are moving forward with that. Had a number of meetings with First Choice Services. They did have a number of applicants to this position, of which we did interview candidates a couple of weeks ago. First Choice Services offered the position to a young lady by the name of Erica Bennett. She accepted the position and is currently in training for this in Charleston. Her training began this past Monday. It will last a couple weeks in Charleston, at which time she will report to the Buckhannon Police Department to begin training with us and providing her services to our community through our police department at that time. So we look forward to introducing her to several of our partners throughout the community. We continue to receive applications for probationary patrol officer. The deadline for applications is tomorrow, March 22nd. The Police Civil Service Commission is scheduled to meet next Tuesday, March 26th, to review the applications and to set a timetable for testing, at which point we will begin that process. This next project has also been a while in the making, and that is the Motorola mobile radios. I know that is something that we discussed last year, and there was a little bit of a turnaround time in the ordering process and receiving those radios. We did receive them earlier this year and are working with Derek Long, who is installing the radios in our cruisers as we speak. So he's about a third of the way into the project and plans on continuing this over the next few weeks. We continue to work on staffing the instructor positions that is needed throughout the police department. We discussed a number of these positions at our recent budget meeting. So work continues on that. We do have a couple of officers that did finish instructor development training through the FBI last month, and do also have other training scheduled in the latter part of this month as well as in April. We'll be about halfway toward our goal at that point, and the plan calls for continuing on this once we get through Strawberry Festival and the summer activities. We'll continue work toward this. We also continue to work on the wellness program that Chief Kimball is spearheading. I know he's spoken at length about this with the mayor and council. I've mentioned in the past, we fully support this and embrace this. We do feel it's a needed component for our emergency services here in the city of Buckhannon. I've had a number of meetings with their law enforcement specialists and have provided large volumes of data that they're going through to help customize our plan and approach to this program. So those meetings and work on that does continue. We also continue planning for this year's Strawberry Festival, having a number of meetings with our various public safety partners, as well as individuals from the Strawberry Festival. We have been very busy on the community policing front. It seems like career fairs is kind of the theme. We've attended career fairs at the middle school, the high school, today at the college, and the academy school will be next week. We'll also will be hosting a criminal justice class from Wesleyan in April, where we'll do use of force using our simulator. We'll do demonstrations with the class and interact with the students. Currently working on policy updates consistent with changes to the CALEA standards manual. We're actually working on 2 manual updates, the oldest of which was late last year into early this year. The newest is actually this week. CALEA has a conference in Montgomery, Alabama, and we'll be putting out another change to the standards manual after this week. And so we'll incorporate that into this current cycle of revisions as well. Do anticipate calling a meeting of the Policy Review Committee sometime in late April as I prepare these changes. Right now we've changed about 6 policies consistent with this current manual, and I think there's 2 or 3 more coming in the next manual from after this week. Mentioned the instructor position training. We also have a number of other trainings that we are hosting at the training room at the Public Safety Building. Just in the last month, we've hosted a property and evidence management class. We also partnered with the United States Attorney's Office to host a report writing class that was put on by the ATF. In early April, we have a couple of other classes that we're sponsoring. One class is body language for law enforcement, and the second class is recognizing pre-attack indicators. So all those will occur the first week of April. We do try to put as many of our officers, take advantage of it being at our facility, and put as many of our officers as we can through these trainings. And Mayor, that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Questions for Chief Gregory?
I have a question. And I've gone back and forth the past several days as to whether I was going to ask it, and I tipped Matt off at the outset before the meeting started, and I was still going back and forth. We've had 4 shooting incidents in the Buckhannon area, Upshur County, just in the last week. I would think back over the 41 years I've been here, and that's got to be a record. In addition to that, we've had killings in Harrison County, Lewis County, Barber County, incidents in Randolph County. It dominates the news every night. It's something new right here in our area that we're so used to it being peaceful, calm. I remember being here practicing law for the first 10 or 12 years, and we had, I think, 1 murder in Upshur County in that entire 10, 12 year period of time. It was a big deal. What's going on, Matt? I mean, you got a theory about any of this? Is it a cultural thing that we should brace for more of this? Is it just a strange coincidence that so much has happened recently? Is there something we can be doing as a governing body and as a community to help quash future incidents from happening? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a good observation that you make, very valid, obviously. It's been a very trying couple of weeks for our whole area to experience these tragedies. Really, that's really the best way to sum it up. To my understanding, I believe the common denominator with the vast majority of these is that they are domestic incidents. And I've long stated over the course of throughout my experience as a police officer that domestic violence is perhaps one of the most trying things that we deal with as as police officers, and really even beyond that as a community, just because it's so volatile. And, you know, and I've often said it's probably one of the more dangerous situations that you can find yourself in as an officer, because in a lot of those situations, when you walk into it, it's not just the here and now, it's not just the incident in and of itself. On many of those occasions, you're walking into a long history of problems. And really, and because of that, you know, as I said, domestic violence has long been a community issue. It's probably one of the biggest issues we've dealt with over the course of our many years, or my many years with the police department. Someone asked the other day, you know, I mean, should we be concerned? Should we feel safe or unsafe? And my response is this: I mean, obviously each of these incidents were focused on specific individuals. That it wasn't a random type of situation. So, you know, I don't believe that creates an immediate concern to the community that there's something that's ongoing, or that there's some, you know, individuals that are being randomly targeted. But that isn't to say that we shouldn't ever let our guard down, or that we should ever think that nothing can ever happen here or ever happen to us. I've long said that I think the most adequate response to safety, to public safety, is to be vigilant. And I speak as a community, and also speak as the individual, my personal safety. Be vigilant. Educate yourself on ways that you can protect yourself, ways that you can protect your family, ways that you can protect your property. Understand that domestic violence is a real issue, that it's volatile. If you know somebody that's in that type of situation, or if you yourself are experiencing that situation, please do not hesitate to reach out and ask for help, whether that be from law enforcement, whether that be from family, whether that be from somebody that you trust. There's help out there, and there are resources out there. And I do strongly encourage anybody that has experienced that, or knows somebody that experiences that, to seek those resources and don't remain in those types of volatile situations. I think that's the most important, the most important aspect of what I mean by being vigilant, and that is you know, taking the steps that are necessary to protect yourself and your family.
Let's always be reminding our own guys and gal on our own police force to be, it's a very precarious situation when you guys become involved with this. And the incident the other day where there were two going on at the same time, and you start to divide your limited resources, that's very trying upon all of our agencies.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, City Attorney Tom O'Neill is deferring his remarks to down under strategic issues for discussion and or vote, where we have a couple of things for him there. So under correspondence and information, you have the Charles Gibson Library's Director Report for March. We do have the notice from Novellis, as Pam pointed out earlier, and that was forwarded to you all when I received it last week. And then we have a notice, EPA begins assessment and cleanup of the Jawbone Run spill. I understand that they'll be back doing some more drilling in the area of Speedway coming in April. So, but the good news is First Community Bank was given the clearance to go back to using their drive-through. So that is good
It
news.
won't be shut back down again yet?
Not sure.
Okay.
It all depends on what the drilling uncovers.
One question can I ask real quick?
Mhm.
What's going on with the library? How's that coming along? Are they open back up, or people's been asking?
What's
I don't know.
any updates from the library?
Oh, I think it's about to open up.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause people-
Okay, under the consent agenda, we have E2 and E3. I'd entertain a motion that we approve the payment of our bills and the approval of our building and wiring permits. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. McCauley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by, I'll give it to Thomas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, that motion carries unanimously. Okay, we are down to strategic issues. Excuse me, for discussion or vote. We have a resolution to approve this evening for a general fund budget revision. This will be number 4, and this is in our current fiscal year 23-24. Amby is approaching the podium.
Okay, in your packets, you'll see the resolution 2024-03. It's the 4th revision for this general fund budget for this fiscal year. We did this revision in most part to address some expenses that were approved for outside entities. We also had a large gas bill from the street department that notoriously happens each winter, we've discovered. So in it, the budget revision itself is $54,857. And in it, you should have detailed spreadsheet of the line items that are affected. It's probably right behind the budget resolution. Okay. Revenues affected $54,857. Actually, let me start with expenses to explain why we need to revise the revenues. In the part that says expenses, so we cleaned up a few small items. Under 409-341-05 events, fireworks expenses, we added $15,000 for the additional amount that was given to the Strawberry Festival for a total contribution of $40,000. We added $1,500 that we approved to go to the chamber, and then $10,000 for the barbecue bash that will occur in June. So that portion of the revision was $26,500. We did pull $22,000 out of council's contingency to use towards that. Then on your next line item below that, 750-213 street department utilities, we have a building or 2 buildings out there when the gas bills, and they're trying to be conservative, but they get quite expensive. I think we had $3,000 a month. Is that right, Laura? 3. So we added $20,000 there to make sure we cover those for the rest of the year. Under street supplies, the banners that were approved, we added $10,000 to that. And then CAC bookings is a newer one. You'll see $6,000 for CAC bookings in expenditures, but you'll also see it in revenues. Our new manager has indicated that she's pretty confident that we booked something, we're going to get back what we put in it, if not with some excess revenues, but I'm conservative, so I just want to play it safe. I'm going to wash them out, is what I'm doing. And then the others are just some items that needed cleared up in the GL. Up in your revenues and expenditures, the gas and oil severance tax, we collected more than we expected, so we took $30,000 from that to help with those expenses. Camp Buccaneer is, you'll see that $5,000 there is being pulled from the added to the revenues to compensate for where they had some items down at the bottom that they needed somewhere here.
6,000.
6,000, yeah. And then under the CAC tickets, like I said, 6,000 for revenues to compensate for the ticket below, and then we took 1,300 out of miscellaneous revenue to close the gap. So our general fund budget we're working on right now, and I'm sure you're going to have another revision before the end of the year.
Any questions for Amby relative to the budget revision as presented? Hearing none, I entertain a motion that we approve under F1 budget revision number 4, which would be resolution 2024-03 for the fiscal year current 23-24. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Pam, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. That motion carries. It is a roll call because it is a resolution. So Mr. Sanders, I will defer to you.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Mrs. Buckley.
Yes.
Mr. McCauley?
Yes.
Mr. Rigger is absent. Mayor Skinner?
Yes.
And Sanders votes yes.
Okay. We'll provide signatures on that document. All right. F2, as we've been working on the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, I believe we have a proposal to consider for passage this evening. So Amby, if you want to walk us through some of the highlights.
Of course, council knows about everything through the budget. They meticulously went through this line by line item, but this is more of a highlight presentation for the community. And to let you know a little bit how the process works. So City Council held working sessions for the general fund budget. It's required by West Virginia Code. Those were held in February and March. They met with the supervisors and they went over each of the department finances with those supervisors. Once this budget's approved, the City Council approves it, then we need to submit it to the State Auditor's Office, and it'll also be published in the local newspaper. Then the step after that, in April the 16th to be exact, the council will need to lay the levy rates. One thing I want to note about the levy rates, the rates for the Charles Gibson Library had to be slightly reduced because the anticipated collections for the library, according to the what the voters voted on, wouldn't be collecting over $106,674. So we had to reduce it from 1.5 per hundred to 1.38 per hundred. And just as a note, the library levy will be up in the November election. We're going to run that in the November election. This budget presented this evening is $6,782,900. The largest revenue sources are the property taxes at $967,000, B&O taxes at $1,490,000, and sales tax at $2.1 million. The highlights for this expense include a 14% increase in health insurance. We also had $20,000 additional added to UCDA for housing study and facade grant. Outside agencies such as Buckhannon will receive $10,000, $25,000 for the Strawberry Festival, $10,000 for 4th of July fireworks, and $20,000 that will be allocated to other outside entities that will have activities within the city. We also had restroom repairs in that budget for City Hall. That's actually divided among the other departments as well, since they also use City Hall. Police Department budget is at $1,641,000, with $228,000 for equipment payments, which include new pistol sights, computers, and paving of the evidence lot. Now again, I'm not going to name everything. There's operational costs of regular materials and payroll and benefits in the regular budget. Anyone that wants to see that can see it, but I'm trying to just give you the highlights. Fire Department budget's at $1,352,000, with $15,000 for the volunteers equipment, $15,000 for recruiting of volunteers, and $207,000 for equipment payments, life packs, and air packs. The Street Department budget is at $1,665,000. $100,000 will be contributed to the Public Works Board. That board actually oversees the care of the cemetery, parks, and playgrounds. So that's to supplement them. Additional funds were added to payroll for the new hire of the Public Works Director in expectation of Jerry Arnold's retirement. $88,000 was allocated for equipment payments, $200,000 toward paving, $165,000 for street projects. The Colonial Art Center budget is at $201,000, with $64,000 going towards the seating payment and $25,000 going towards bookings for shows. The Stalker Youth Center budget's $727,000. That has a potential building payment in there of $226,000, and then $13,000 for camp supplies, $47,000 for bond counsel, and $33,000 for programs such as karate, drill, and dance classes. And then the event center's at $121,000, and that's $40,000 that goes towards the building payment, and approximately $40,000 towards payroll and with the hire of a new employee. So those are the highlights of it. The budget you have in your packet looks differently than the line items that we went over, because you got much more detail than goes to the state auditor's office. But the packet the item in your packet is how the auditor's office wants us to submit it. They don't care about line by line items.
Are there any questions for Amby relative to the proposal of the budget for fiscal year 2024-2025?
Amy, this assumes no increase in any fees, is that correct?
No, I did build in there with the anticipation of revenues, that you may increase the police and fire revenues, so I built that in there. I want to note too with B&O, the B&O is 1.4.
You'll have to
That
adjust-
is now very, very conservative due to the loss of a recent company in town, but
Yeah. Showing
it-
you'll have to adjust that down, you already did that.
When I build budgets, I'm trying to build budgets anticipating that revenues, are going to be underestimated. So I think we're covered, but it's a very conservative number, so just put that up.
I do have one concern in regard to our streets, the paving and so forth. I think we need to step up the funding for that area for the next at least 5 years. And, once we take a look at the police fee and the fire fee and so forth, that will give us some headway, I think. I also think that we have ever since I've been on the council, we've had the rainy day fund, that cushion, it's $1 million now, correct?
960,
Just about $1 million.
right.
Yeah, I think at some point in time, we may want to dip into that for the streets and paving. I think that's a critical part of our town that we need to take better care of, the infrastructure. And so, we'll take a look at what's happening 2 or 3 months out there, maybe we can do that. So, but I know you're conservative, and that's good.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we need to do this in break this out 2 ways. So for the first part of this, I'd like to ask that there be a motion and a second to approve the budget fiscal year 24-25 with all line items included, with the exception of the contribution to the Upshur County Development Authority, because I have to recuse myself from that, which Mr. Sanders will take that up after this. So is there a motion to approve the budget as presented with all line items as that we looked at in the spreadsheet and that Amby covered, with the exception of the Upshur County Development Authority's contribution?
So moved.
Motion by McCauley, second by Thomas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. That motion carries unanimously. Mr. Sanders, would you mind to take up a motion that would approve the expenditure toward the Upshur County Development Authority?
Absolutely. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the budgeted line item for the contribution to the Upshur County Development
moved.
Authority. Do I have a second?
Second.
So motion by Thomas, second by McCauley. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Noting that the mayor has abstained from that vote, motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, everyone. As we note that this is a living document, it is, this is a budget. It can be adjusted, it can be updated. So this is the formality section tonight, because we're, 10 days from the budget being due to the state of West Virginia. So Amby and Barb, thank you very much for all the work that you've done to get this together, and Barb especially, and in Amby's absence, you've put in a lot of long hours here helping us get ready for budget, and thank you for all your dedication, both of you.
Thank you, ladies. Can I mention something?
Sure.
That I think, we spent 5-7 minutes discussing expending almost $7 million. I think our constituents out there need to know that there's been a lot of planning and a lot of meetings and a lot of collective thought and input put in on this. It isn't something that just happened during 5 minutes tonight. It's been a process over the last couple of months that Amby has shepherded us through, as she always does so well.
That's a good point. Yep. Yeah. None of that just happened. So.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Yeah.
The $20,000 to UCDA, who's gonna be doing the housing study?
We have to bid that out.
Oh, okay,
The housing study is going to cost us around $30,000.
okay.
So, but it's a critical element because as our planning commission talks about housing specifically, the community is ineligible for any sort of housing grants, any sort of housing projects to market to developers without having a comprehensive housing study. So
And the facade grant, is that for the building or is it for people who's
it's for
applying for grants?
it will be a similar program to what the city is no longer able to do it due to the state auditor's office and the ethics commission, but as the community's land bank, we can. So when I presented the report to the Revenue and Expense Review Committee, and Amby has that report with our audit and our finances, we will be giving reports to the council to show what applicants came in. It will be a 50-50 match the way it always was. So it helps spruce up
Well, I either
properties.
forgot or did not realize that we weren't allowed to be doing that anymore.
Yeah, that was a change here.
That put us into some uncomfortable positions because there was some concern that we were benefiting specific people privately.
Okay.
And so we just kind of said we'd rather not do it and even have any thoughts that it might not be proper.
Okay.
The county commission also matched, so the city and the county together are matching the same contribution, so they're helping with this as well.
Okay.
So, all right, down to F3. This is the approval justice assistance grant through the Mountain Region Task Force Buckhannon Police Department. Matt, do you want to touch base on that? I'm sorry, I should have had that line item keyed up for when you were at the podium.
Oh, no problem. So this is a grant that was sought for and received by the Randolph County Commission on behalf of the Mountain Region Task Force for various members to pay overtime expenses of those members toward drug investigations. So what we're seeking tonight is just council approval to allow me to act as the authorized official for the city of Buckhannon and sign any grant documentation as required for these expenses in this capacity. We'll note that we currently do not have a member on the task force. There is a vacancy and we're working toward filling that, but once we do, again, this is just council's authorization to have me serve as the authorized official for paperwork.
Are you looking for an officer to be on the task?
No, this will be somebody that comes from within the department.
Okay.
Is there a motion to support Matt in his request?
So moved.
Motion by Sanders, second by Bucklew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you, Matt.
You want to take that? You want to talk about F4?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you want to. You're the closest person to. F4 is to consider combining, and we believe that we have the person already on our staff to do so, combining the efforts and the workload that would be the management of the Colonial Arts Center as well as the Brushy Fork Event Center.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. We have been accepting applications for the management position at the Event Center Brushy Fork, and we did receive one from Matula Hartley, which the city interviewed her. She has a dynamic resume that's full of background in event production in Las Vegas, in Florida. She actually ran her own company, which covered the payroll aspects of union members who participated in large productions for periods of time. So payroll companies had to handle that, which is pretty intense. So she comes to us with a lot of background in audiovisual and video and space management, utilizing space at its best capacity, its best premium. So we offered her a position as the manager at the Event Center Brushy Fork. And then shortly thereafter, we had an opening for manager of the Colonial Arts Center. So being faced with several productions that was taking place, we asked her to step in as interim manager there. And after the board, which I've got to compliment the board of directors of the Colonial Arts Center, they have really stepped up and they've been assisting Matula, assisting this office, City Hall. We've had members every day this week go up there and spend volunteer hours assisting with what's going on there. So it's a very good board. But they met with Matula at the last meeting. They had a discussion with her. They reviewed some of her plans for the Colonial Arts Center if she were to be asked to stay on as that manager too. And I've talked to the mayor, I've talked to Amby and a few other people, and I've been running the event center basically at Brushy Fork, and it is picking up steam. It's getting more and more activity. I've got an event out there this week. We've had two this week. So we do need somebody that can I just can't. I can't do the recorder, the information, and I spent most of the day today out there myself, which somebody has to be on site. So Matula, we've talked to her about handling both properties. I personally think, from my years of working with event space, this is just an automatic move for city council to take, to have somebody with expertise in the products we have. Space for rent, square footage for rent, AV video for rent, and she'll obviously have to build a support team for setup and tear down and turning it, because we have one event coming up one event will end at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we have a second event that starts at 4 p.m. We're going to flip it. We're going to be able to do that. That's not a problem. But I would highly recommend that council approve combining those two positions and having one person with the expertise that Matula has to handle both properties in a combined management position.
I could say I met her at the chamber dinner and had quite conversations with her, and I think she'd be a great asset for the city. The one comment you made, Randy, that I'm concerned about is support team. How do we do that? Where do we go? We get a support team that we have to pay,
Yeah.
and so forth. And
Yeah.
we don't really have that right now, do we?
What we do now is we rely heavily upon the city's internal departments. So when I have to flip a room out there, I have to make arrangements with Brad Hawkins, Jerry Arnold to get folks from the street department. We utilize employees from the Stockard Youth and Community Center to come out and vacuum and clean and help. I'm not going to have that luxury when the summer hits and our street department is putting in long days outside. I can't ask them to leave a project. Usually I'll meet them out there at 7 a.m. to do that kind of work. Matula has resources. Her husband is also the technical director at West Virginia Wesleyan College of the Performing Arts Center. She has resources to find labor and expertise, for audio video work at both properties, and that's something that I'll add in. We cannot afford to let non-professionals operate that equipment. Right. We invested a large amount of money into our audio and video equipment. We've already had some equipment mishandled by allowing members of the general public come in and say, I'd like to learn how to do this, I'd like to just, do it, and so on and so forth. So she can pull from those resources. And I think, Amby, we've anticipated that with the budgets.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
particularly with the cleaning and that sort of thing,
Right.
we had those extra hours put in there for that.
And we will still utilize city department help when we can, when it makes sense. If it's pouring the rain down and the street department can't work on a project, and I've got something in Matola, I can gratefully say Matola now in the near future needs some help. She could reach out and see if that's available.
I make a motion that we give her that position.
Well, I gotta ask a question.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do this. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
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 Okay, we'll give
We
it.
have we have a motion by Thomas, second by Bucklew. Now we're open to discussion.
Okay.
Pam.
How are we gonna handle, her if we have two big events going on at the same time? If something's booked at the CAC
Sure.
and she's got an event going on out there, are you gonna prioritize one or the other?
No.
Or is she going?
They both receive priority, and I'll give you an example. As long as I'm still working with the city of Buckhannon, and this is not gonna be in perpetuity, forever, but I'll step in. So today, this week, we have two events going on.
Okay,
The CAC's been busy all week.
right.
I've had two events out at the event center. So, her and I just work out a schedule. I went out at 6 o'clock this morning, did the load in for the event. She came at 7, relieved me so I could come to sanitary. I had some other things to take care of. At noon, I went back and worked with her for 2 hours and relieved her. She went back, took a break, and then now she's working at the Culinary Arts Center this evening. So I would be one person that would back her up. We will ultimately have to look at other people with skill level, skills to do that, when there's multiple events going on. I mean, this coming month in April, we have one weekend, the event center is going to be used for drill. The next weekend, we have the NRA banquet. The next weekend, we have the Shriners, and the next weekend, we have Buckhannon High School prom. I mean, it's going to be a robust month.
Okay, so say for instance, somebody books a huge wedding 6 months down the road.
Mhm.
Does that mean that same day, something not necessarily will be able to be booked at the
Oh,
CAC?
absolutely not. If we can
That's
book
what I-
something at
that's
the
what I-
CAC, we'll book
that's what
something
I-
at the CAC, yeah. They're both very important to the city. So we will continue to book competing dates,
Okay,
and we will work out, I've had opportunities where I had to pull in the Tammy Rigger and Lacey Ramsey because of their background and expertise in this, where we've asked them to come and handle an event when I had nobody else to cover it. And so we will find that, and that's part of her job, is to find that kind of team that she can call upon and say, look, I need coverage.
We've been using part-time people for a lot of this fill-in when it's just where she doesn't have to be doing something, we just need someone there at the theater to make sure everyone's safe, and we've used part-time people for that.
And they're vetted, just like any other part-time, like part-time people that the city hires to do summer work with the street department or with Dixie or whatever, we're still gonna vet those people. And, one of the things that her and I both agree on, anyone we put in that position has to have the knowledge necessary to handle audio, video, handle those types of things.
But also have the personality
Yeah.
that she does
Oh,
to be
she's
a
so great.
recruiter of.
Yeah.
She's demonstrated so far that she's a rock star, and we're very fortunate that we've been able to bring her on board here.
okay, so where is the money coming from that's gonna be paying her for the CAC? It's
already in the budget.
It's going a separate thing, right? Right
In your,
from
in
the
your
event
budget,
center?
you've got a budget for the Colonial Theater and you've got a budget for the
Okay,
event
I must
center.
have
Yeah.
missed
Yeah,
that
they're
then.
both in there, and I've got something estimated at what I think it'll be. Of course, as events start happening and we're gonna bring in more income, we may have to adjust that.
Right.
We haven't really operated this theater full capacity or the event center for months, so we've got to learn what it's gonna potentially do, and we have to build those budgets. There's gonna be revisions as we get the money in and as we need to hire part-time people to help.
Right.
Well, I think she's got a wonderful personality. I met her the first night I met her, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a great person.
She's got
What we
good
need.
good
Oh, yeah.
experience.
Oh,
Yeah,
great background,
exactly,
yes.
exactly.
Yeah, we're blessed to have.
Yeah, we are.
Blessed to have both her and her husband in the community. So, yes, I'm.
Well, I'm willing to be on there if somebody needs to call me for something.
What's that?
As long as I'm not lifting anything heavy. I'll have
She's volunteering.
May I add something to the
Sure,
discussion?
I'm not gonna lift anything.
For the folks out there that might not know the history of the event center, this isn't a sudden new undertaking by the city. This goes back roughly a dozen years ago when Kenny Davidson was mayor, and the council then committed $765,000 to establish the event center as part of the Armory. So this isn't something brand new. We've been on the hook for this. We had an agreement with the West Virginia National Guard that's been out there for a dozen years. The reason that we now need a person to oversee the event center is because about 2 years ago now, or has it just been a year?
A year.
Our Convention and Visitors Bureau folks, because of state auditor issues and other things, could no longer administer the event center stuff. So it came back at the city. We are the primary holder of the rights to the event center. That's what we invested that $765,000 for back roughly in 2012. So it's not something new, it's just
Right.
continuing the level of responsibilities that we took on a dozen years ago.
Yep.
Well put.
All right, so there is a motion on the floor. There is also a second. There is a motion by Thomas and a second by Bucklew, right? Is that what we did?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to ask for that question? I believe that we are. All those in favor of F5, no, sorry, F4, of combining the CAC and Brushy Fork Event Center under Matula's watch, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, we are ready to engage Mr. Tom O'Neill, City Attorney, this evening. And he is, we need to talk to him about F5, F6, and F7. But we will begin with F5. And this is Ordinance 466. This is the second and final reading, expediting the enforcement of property nuisance in our ordinance structure. Mr. O'Neill, do you want to highlight it by caption, and we'll take it from there?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to participate remotely today. I'm attending a continuing education conference in Charleston, and in the event, the council has before it the engrossed final version that reflects the update to the codified ordinances, which I'll read now by caption. Ordinance number 466 of the City of Buckhannon, an ordinance amending ordinance numbers 244, 357, 367, 375, and 404, codified ordinance number 2016-004 of the City of Buckhannon, and modifying and reenacting Article 1711 of the codified ordinances of the City of Buckhannon related to expedited enforcement of those ordinances concerning the abatement of nuisances on properties located within the corporate limits of the city. Again, this is the second of two readings. If the council votes to adopt the ordinance, it will take effect 30 days from tonight, which is April 20th of 2024. At your last meeting, you did not further amend the ordinance, so it is the same text in its final form as the council considered at its last meeting. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions? I don't believe so. So I'd entertain a motion that we pass on second and final reading to take effect on April 20th. Ordinance 466, updating the expedited enforcement of property nuisance.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. That motion carries unanimously. Okay, as Mr. Thomas alluded to earlier in the meeting, and as also discussed by Mrs. Jenkins, per our extensive discussions in the budget meetings, we, I believe, are in agreement that we would like to see some update to our fire protection service fees as well as our police protection fees. And so our first step this evening is, as if that is the direction that the council wishes to go, we need to direct City Attorney Tom O'Neill to draft an ordinance to increase the fire protection fee, as well as to draft an ordinance to increase the police protection fee. It would be my recommendation that we take the fire fee for residential from $3 a month to $7.50 per month, making it $90 per year. There would be some adjustment in the commercial line items as well, but it would not be a square footage model as observed by other cities. And then also taking the police fee from $1.50 per month to $5 per month, making that a $60 a year fee for residential, making our public safety fee total for the year for residents $150. Is there any, does anyone else have any discussions on that proposal?
Robbie, I would just remind our residents, I believe it was 1981 was the last time we invoked the police
Correct.
fee. And it was about the same time that the fire fee was done too. I mean, we're talking 42, 43 years.
Right.
And one of the problems that we have with Jerry Arnold's area, especially with streets and parks, more and more of the apple is absorbed by our public safety expenses, which was $34,000 shy of $3 million. Back in 1981-82, the entire general fund budget wasn't $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the entire, so public safety would have been 45% of that back then.
Right.
It's exponentially more than what it was then. Instead of $400,000, it's now $3 million to run a police and fire department. So this gives the city opportunity to address those needs that we hear all the time from our constituents about street paving and sidewalks and things like that. That's largely what this is about. It's not about giving new resources to the police and fire department. It's reallocating money.
Right.
I would also add that I would vote for both of these, but I'm also going to be a person on the sideline that is going to be pushing for a equity as regard to first due. They should be paying the same as our citizens. And that's not addressed here, but at some point in time, we're going to have to deal with that again. So I just wanted to be straightforward and letting people know how I feel about that.
Sure. So let's take these up one at a time as they're listed on the agenda. F6 is the first one that has to do with fire protection fees. Is there a motion to direct City Attorney Tom O'Neill to begin the draft ordinance to increase the fire protection fees as presented?
So move.
A motion by Thomas, a second by Bucklew. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. That motion carries unanimously. F7, the same. Is there a motion to direct City Attorney Tom O'Neill to draft an ordinance increasing the police protection fees as presented?
So move.
As a motion by Mr. Thomas, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McCauley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Just, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is the intent to have these ordinances take effect July 1st with the new fiscal year?
That would be our goal.
That's
Yeah.
what I would think would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the public will be able to come to a council meeting to see how they feel about this. Right?
Correct. Yeah, there will be a required public hearing on the third and final reading of this, because it will take 3 readings due to the fact that it's a fee.
Revenue.
Yep.
And these fees are reasonable when you look at other municipalities.
Yeah, we are bringing our fee structure into, and in fact, we're still under a little bit from our neighboring communities.
Yep.
Okay, thank you all. Up next, as you know, we've discussed a few times in executive session relative to personnel matters, as well as here at the table. And it was even brought up this evening in Amby's report, but our Public Works Director, Jerry Arnold, is retiring. And in fact, his last official day, we're coming up on about a year next month from his actual official last day. However, he would like to begin relinquishing the throttle very much so by Christmas of this year. So we need to begin the advertising piece of this to bring on a new public works director that would hopefully work alongside Jerry through the summer months and to kind of get a sense of what goes on here. So this is not, just for clarification's sake, this isn't, we're not hiring, we're not offering. This is to simply advertise the position and through our news outlets, through LinkedIn, through our social media outlets, as we begin the process to bring on a new public works director. Is there a motion to begin the advertisement?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Sanders, a second by Thomas. Is there any discussion on that?
Are we still tweaking a bit the description, the job description?
Yeah. This is conceptual tonight. Yeah.
We want to get Jerry's input on that.
Correct.
Of course, before we
Yeah, this does not approve a job description. It just approves the fact that we can move forward.
process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good, that's all I have.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing the need for none, I will call for the question. All those in favor of advertising for the Public Works Director position, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. That motion carries unanimously. Okay, F9, in the very back of your packet, you'll see,
Jerry just let out a sigh of relief.
yeah, well,
Who did?
Yes.
Yeah, but part of the whole process will be have to stay another 3 years.
you know, sometimes when people say, hey, I lost weight, well, I you know, it says somebody, the other person says, hey, I found it. Jerry's sigh of relief is now on this side of the table's stress adding, so. Okay, under F9, we have an amended request from the Strawberry Festival that it is relative to some street closures. I'll read this to you briefly. In addition to the above street request, this is from what we approved last time. The West Virginia Strawberry Festival would like to amend the request above highlighted in red. It's in black and white in your packet. The closure of Barber, Pocahontas, and Marion Streets, as well as Camden Avenue, both sides, for parade lineup on May 18th, 2024 for the Grand Feature Parade. The amended request would read the closure of Barber, Pocahontas, Marion, and Camden, both sides, May 18th for the Grand Feature Parade, and Thursday, May 16th, 2024 for the Junior Royalty Parade lineup as well. So that is just adding, the closure of the streets for the lineup of the parades.
Did they just miss that in the original?
Yeah, it says here, this addition simply adds a request. It was an oversight, yeah. So is there a motion to add that to the approval of the larger request that we made to the West Virginia Strawberry Festival?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bucklew. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries unanimously. Lastly, I'm thinking it may make the most sense to cancel the May 16th meeting. Normally, we move it back to the Tuesday, but that Tuesday is election day, and so City Hall is used as a polling place, and it's a city holiday. So we're kind of out for that week, and with festival going on, I'm just asking if we could just skip it and move to the June meeting.
Let's do that, and then if you have some kind of thing that has to come up, we can.
Right, we always reserve the right that we could call for a special meeting for the following week if we would need it.
Yeah.
So is there a motion to cancel the May 16th
So
meeting
moved.
due to the conflict with the West Virginia Strawberry Festival? We have a motion by Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bucklew. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, that motion carries unanimously. And that makes me happy as a board member of the West Virginia Strawberry Festival. I'm gonna be busy.
Yeah.
All right, we are down to council comments and announcements, and before we get to that, reminder, you'll see on the agenda, we have a brief executive session relative to personnel matters, so if you could stay after for a few moments, that would be appreciated. We also want to make sure that we keep our good friend and fellow council member Jack Rigger in our thoughts and prayers. He has fallen under the weather this evening and was unable to join us, so please keep Jack in your thoughts and prayers. Pam, what do you have for us?
I just want to thank the council for giving us the money to buy the new banners. I can't wait to see them downtown, brighten up downtown, and Jawbone will be same. And if Jerry, if we need help to put those up, I can get some people together, but just let me know. And also, I was actually, you know, the events that happened last night, that was really bad. I was actually in the emergency room with my sister when all that was taking place, and it was not a pretty sight. And of course, I didn't see some of the stuff, but I saw some things as I left, so it was not. And so I really felt sorry for the officers, all of them standing around there, and the EMTs and everything, because it was intense.
And it's not something that we very, very rarely ever see.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I'm sure our hospital staff, you know,
Everybody was called in.
yeah,
You know, it was.
yeah, it's not a normal situation.
Right.
Thank you again for organizing the seasonal decorating committee and for helping to add some color to our downtown this year.
Can't wait to see it.
Mr. McCauley.
Vast operation. I harken back to when I started a long time ago. It's small town operation back in the early 80s compared to what we do today. And we owe a considerable part of our accomplishments and where we are today to our excellent employees.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I agree. Mr. Thomas.
I got a couple things to say in regard to what Councilman McCauley asked Matt about, you know, what has happened in recent weeks in regard to the activity, criminal activity. I do think we have a major change in our culture. And I think a lot of our issues, unfortunately, are combinations of, you know, we didn't have drugs 40 or 50 years ago like we do today. So that creates an issue for us. And I also don't think we had the social media that we have today, and I don't think that's the most healthy thing oftentimes for people to be, you know, on their cell phones or on their computers, looking at just so much negativism out in our society. And I think it's just a combination of a lot of different things that unfortunately our police officers and our law enforcement officers have to deal with. And hopefully we can, you know, I was shocked when we had a council person in the school system say that 43% of our kids don't live with either one of their biological parents. I mean, think about that. That's amazing. And I grew up, my father and mother were part of the greatest generation. And things are a lot different than they were 65, 70 years ago. So I don't know how we get back to that, but we got some issues we got to deal with as a society. I was going to suggest at some point in time, it's not going to affect this budget at all, we cannot give ourselves raises. That's pretty standard out there. And I wanted to see the mayor and the council and the recorder get increases in their compensation. The mayor has not had an increase in that position in 20 years. And the council in 20 years also. Now, we did do something for the recorder a couple years ago. But I'm going to make a recommendation at some point in time before the election for the new council members that we provide the council and the mayor and recorder an increase that would go effective July 1st of 2026. And it's been 20 years since the mayor and the council and the recorder got a small thing. I can't remember how much, Randy, a couple of years ago. But it's time we do something. And, you know, the enterprise board gets $200 a month for members that are either on the council or off the council. They meet once a month. The council members meet twice a month. And during the budgeting period, they meet sometimes 2, 3, 4 times in a 2-month period. Then all of us have extra responsibilities, whether it's a revenue expense committee, the housing enforcement board, the audit committee, the Upshur County Development Authority, the Park and Recreations. There's just a bunch of things out there that we do extra and we don't get paid for. So I would like to see us do better compensation starting July 1 of 2026. And I also will talk to Tom about how can we do it so that everybody's paid the same that's on the council, that is sitting up here? And also, do we need to work with a municipal league? It's an antiquated system, and it's just not a good system. And so I want to push that at some point in time, but it's not going to affect the next 2 budgets at all. So, thank you. That's it. God bless everybody.
Thanks, Thomas. See, Jay.
I'm good.
All right, Mr. Sanders.
Okay, so we mentioned this earlier in the meeting, and I promised the Upshur Buckhannon Board of Health to speak about it a little bit more. So, I invite you to visit our website, and we have the news announcements that are updated regularly, and we've put a lot of stuff out there lately, so it's a good time to go back and check in the news on our website. We usually mirror that on our Facebook, and we do get some reaction from time to time. Folks that share that post that we do on the Facebook. But I'll just read this. The meeting held on March 20th, 2024, the Upshur Buckhannon Board of Health voted to adopt a proposed rule entitled Upshur Buckhannon Health Department Fees for Permits and Services. The proposed rule establishes fees for environmental permits and services. The Upshur County the Upshur Buckhannon Health Department is seeking approval of this newly proposed rule by appointing authorities of the Board of Health. Citizens wishing to obtain a copy of the proposed rule can do so by contacting the Upshur Buckhannon Health Department at 15 North Locust Street, Buckhannon, West Virginia, or by calling 304-472-2810. The proposed rule is available for review at the Upshur Buckhannon Health Department from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, except for legal holidays. Comments must be received no later than the close of business, 4:30 p.m. on April 26, 2024. All comments must be in writing to be considered by the Upshur Buckhannon Board of Health. So it's an opportunity for citizens to weigh in and learn more about it by going to the Upshur Buckhannon Board of Health. So I promised those folks who are working on this that we would make a point of asking for people to pay attention to that notice. Regarding on what Mr. McCauley said, Chief Gregory commented on, and Mr. Thomas said, you know, gosh, let's just be kind to one another. You know, please, let's just be kind to one another.
Yep.
I know that sometimes tempers flare and relationships are tough for a long period of time, but, you know, I'll just say it one more time. Let's be kind to one another. And that's my comment.
Thank you, sir.
Amen.
I reached out to Sheriff Kaufman today just to check in with him to make sure he was doing okay and his officers were doing okay, because let's not forget, as we're seeing this increase in gunfire around here, Mike was shot in a line of duty in Lewis County. We can't forget that. And so this weighs heavily on our first responders from a mental health standpoint. You know, and we a lot of times forget the fact that, you know, yes, we live in a fantastic community, a cut above everyone, you know, that we like to say everyone else. We're very proud of our community. It's a great place to live, work, and play. But, you know, there is a side to every community that most folks don't see. While we're asleep and you know, all, you know, not out roaming the streets at night, our first responders see a different side of our community. And it's not just here, it's everywhere. But we forget that they don't interact with people on their best days. They interact with people on their worst days, whether it be the EMS, fire department, police department. You know, they're not seeing, you know, Mrs. Smith down the street on a perfect, bright, sunshiny day, and everything is perfect in her world. If they're responding to her house, it's something serious, and you know, tensions are always high. So, you know, the other side of the coin here is that when these things happen, you know, lots of us that care very deeply about the community, they affect us too. I mean, you know, when you're always looking to put the community's best foot forward, and we lose a large employer, and we have some violent crime that takes place all in the same week, and you know, it's tough. It wears on everybody. It wears on the news media that has to cover it. It wears on those of us that work to promote it every day. It wears on City Hall staff. It wears on our Public Works Department that has to go and shut those folks off from their utilities. So let's, I agree with Mr. Sanders. Let's take a kinder approach, a softer approach, and you know, check on people, check in with them, make sure that they're okay. You know, because we're not our best selves right now. We've got some wounds here in the community, but we'll get over them. We always do. We'll come back stronger, and hopefully that everyone that has experienced violence is able to find some peace in the days coming ahead. I know we all. You think about the young man that was faced with what he was faced with in the southern part of the county last night, and you think about all the other situations. I mean, we need to keep a lot of people in our community in prayer. So, with that, thanks everybody. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Be kind to one another. And at 8:48, I entertain a motion that we adjourn into an executive session.
Salute.